about the information that you're hearing on the internet and social media, in mainstream media. You listen to a doctor and they'll read whatever they're calling the latest and greatest in research, and you get, oh, wow, this is great. And then a totally conflicting research comes up and you hear a totally different doctor say the exact opposite. Are you a little concerned about all this cognitive dissonance in the world about health and all the misinformation that they're claiming is, when perhaps those are truths that are being said? If you are concerned about what is best for you when it comes to your health, then today is a great day for you to be in the classroom, because Andrea Beaman, chef and health coach, she's been in the classroom. I don't know for how long and how many years she's been coming into the classroom, sharing no nonsense information. And I'm going to just say right now that this class, you may have to go to BitChute or Odyssey to watch it, because we don't know what we're going to say. Hello, my name is Lillian McDermott, and I am a certified life coach and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show. If this is the first time that you are tuning in, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Well, because I want to get as much conversation in with Andrea, I want to tell you that take lots of notes, because we're going to be learning and growing together. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Andrea Beaman is here to do just that. Welcome back to the classroom.
Hello, Lillian. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. And you?
I can't complain. I'm still alive. The fridge is full. The rent is paid. My feet are working. So everything is good.
Good. I like your protocol for wellness. So share, I want to start because we've had a lot of new people tuning into the classroom. And I want them, because this might be the first time that they hear from you today. Share a little bit about your background and what led you to be such a beaming light of truth in this world.
Well, I mean, like most people that come to wellness, I was sick, right? So we normally don't have that wake-up call until you're in the doctor's office and the doctor's like, listen, you need to take this organ out or do this thing, right? And you're like, wait a minute. So for me, when I was in 1996, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and I had a very large goiter. And my doctor said, you need to take radioactive iodine and then be on Synthroid for the rest of your life. And that was that doctor's truth, right? That's what they were taught in medical school. If the body is presenting with something, you stop the symptom or take out an organ or destroy a body part, right? That's what they're taught. And it's not wrong for them, right? Because that's their training. For me, red flags went up and I said, I don't want to take radioactive anything. Years prior, I had watched my mom go through the treatments for breast cancer. Through Western medicine, which was a radical mastectomy back in the 80s, where they took off the whole breast and all the lymph nodes. And after 5 years of no more cancer, they said, okay, she's cancer free. But 10 years later, the cancer came back, and now it was in her bones, it was in her brain, it was in her lungs, it was everywhere. The radiation that she had, they did the mastectomy and then the radiation pushed the cancer deeper into her system. So for me, when the doctor said radioactive iodine, I said, radioactive nothing. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass on that. And I'm going to change my diet and my lifestyle. And my doctor said, your diet and your lifestyle have nothing to do with your disease. Now, once again, that was her truth and what she learned in medical school. But that wasn't my truth. I knew that there was another way intuitively. And in every single bone in my body, I knew that that wasn't the truth for me. So I left the doctor's office and I changed my diet and I changed my lifestyle and I changed my consciousness. And my thyroid gland started to heal. My goiter started to shrink, 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 shrink. It took about 18 months to go from like this size down to like, as you can see today, no goiter. Right? I mean, we've all seen the people with the gigantic necks. That was me, except it was in the front.
Yeah.
And you know, that it took about 18 months for that goiter to disappear. And during the time that I was healing, my thyroid condition swung from hyper, which is where I was initially diagnosed, to hypo, right? So it was overactive, and then it was underactive, and then it was Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition, which had nothing to do with my thyroid, had to do with my immune system, right? So had I listened to the doctor's truth and what they were taught in the medical school, I would not have a thyroid today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It would have been radiated and I'd be on medication for the rest of my life. So that was my step into this world. And since that time, I've been speaking my truth to other people in the world to try and ignite some truth inside them. Because so many times, Lillian, I hear from clients that say, oh, my doctor told me I needed this. My doctor told me I needed that. My doctor, I need to take out my colon. And they're in shock. And oftentimes they'll just go along with what the doctor says. And then afterwards, they have this deep regret. I wish I hadn't done this to my body. I wish I hadn't. So, I mean, you know, I'm a thyroid expert, and I hear so many times from the people that have had the thyroidectomies, I wish I wouldn't have had my thyroid gland taken out. Right. So we can't put something back once it's been removed. So I believe that we should just take our time and be patient. And when the doctor gives you a diagnosis, no matter what it is, you've got cancer, you've got emphysema, you've got this, you've got that, unless you're in an emergency situation and you've been hit by a truck,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Unless you're in an emergency situation, you just take a breath, you breathe and you relax and you say, is this the truth for me? And is this what my body needs?
Yeah.
I think that we are much more powerful than we have been led to believe.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we are guided, right, by our creators. Some people say God, some people say universe, right? We're guided by forces that are greater than us, but we
Mhm.
have to be quiet to hear it, right? And for some people it's in prayer, and some people it's meditation, but we have to be quiet. But if you're bombarded with a 24-hour feed of, oh, cancer's this, and you got to get a mammogram, and you got to get this pulled out of the body, and right. And in my feed, like, for example, because I'm listed as a thyroid expert, and every time I go on to Instagram or one of those social media, I'm bombarded with thyroid this and thyroid that, and everybody's got a different idea of what to do for this condition and that condition. But not everything is right for me, and not everything's going to be right for you. And we need to really just get quiet and ask internally, is this the right path for me?
You know, I love what you're saying, and I totally 100% agree. But here is what's happened in the world and where we're at today. We have been taught to ignore our intuition. We have been taught that we are not enough, that somebody else with a white coat knows more than you. And one of the interviews that I've done with Dr. Thomas Siegfried, and that's going to be October 31st. That was just, I guess, yesterday. And so with Dr. Thomas Siegfried, you know, you hear him talk about all these new truths about metabolic treatments and how to treat. And so somebody else will come and say, no, you need standard care, and this is what you do. And all these years that he's been talking about this, then, you know, that no one, not a medical doctor, not a medical institution, not a cancer institution, not a school, a college, university that's teaching doctors, none of them. He is continuing this work, and he is like the John the Baptist of, you know, turning things around. And when he talks about cancer, which we have been put, and that's another thing, fear. We've received fear. Fear has been breathed onto us, and we just don't know what to do. And that is why I'm passionate about it. And as I speak to you today, I regret getting my uterus out, but at the time, that's all I knew. I
Yeah.
had my uterus removed. At the time, that was the best decision I could make. So I don't want any of you to feel shamed if you had a
Mm.
body part removed, but because I'm telling you, I did too. But the last time they wanted to remove a body part in my body, and I have to tell you, I don't know if I told you this, but I was sick, had a fever, nauseous, throwing up, and it just came out all of a sudden. I thought maybe I had a virus, maybe I had food poisoning, sun poisoning. I had been out on the beach that day before. But the more I kept going to the bathroom, I looked back, which I want to advise everybody to always look back when you go to the
Yeah.
bathroom, and there was white poop looking back at me. Well, as a
Oh,
researcher, I'm researching it, and I knew this was my gallbladder, and this was what's
yes.
happening at the time. So I went the next day, I called my doctor, happened to have an appointment. I went fasting because I wanted blood work done. I came prepared, and
Good.
I knew with my doctor what I needed. And so I brought it. And that same day I had an ultrasound. That same day I had my blood work done. And then they called me and said, you need to have your gallbladder out. Stat, not just out, but stat. We called the surgeon. You need to come in right away. You have congestion of the gallbladder, blah, blah, blah. You have stones. We can't even see the stones because
Mm.
there's so much congestion. And I'm like, I know better, Andrea.
Mm.
And I was like, oh no. So I called my friend who's a naturopathic doctor, and she said, Lily, they told me the same thing. And I did a gallbladder cleanse, and I still have my gallbladder. So this was 3 years ago, Andrea. And I still have my
Wow.
gallbladder. I did the
Good
gallbladder
girl.
cleanse, and I haven't looked back. But I know the
Ah.
symptoms. I know the symptoms. So this time I knew better, and I chose to not get into that white coat trance, which you hear and obey. I
Yep.
hear and obey. Oh, I got to get my gallbladder out. I got to get this. I got to get, I knew that I needed to do something drastic. When you look back and you see white poop, you know you got to do something
Yep.
drastic at that time. And it is not removing my gallbladder. So how is it that we know? When do we know what's the root cause?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I want to commend you for keeping your gallbladder. Because
Thank
as
you.
you can see, there's a couple of things that you could do. You could switch around the diet, you could do a cleanse, and then the system starts functioning again, right?
Mhm.
So how do you know when it's time, right? For whatever. Our body is always speaking to us,
Mhm.
Lillian. So it could be a slight little pain under the right rib cage. That's just an ache that's there, or even on the on the right on the back, right behind, right as it radiates backwards. Or oftentimes with gallbladder, there'll be a pain in the shoulder,
Mhm.
in the right, in the right, and that's right in the blade,
Mhm.
as the little pain radiates up, right? So the body will talk to us with little aches and pains, but what have we been taught? Don't listen to your body.
No,
Just
no.
give it an aspirin.
Call
Give
me in
it
the
a
morning.
Tylenol. Tell it to stop with that pain business. Get on whatever, the morphine, whatever you need. But we've been taught to shut the body up,
Mhm.
right? Don't listen to the body. But the body is always talking. Even if you
Yes.
get if you're getting multiple infections every year, right? So there are people that are prone to getting every cold and flu. So their body is saying, hey, I can't handle the amount of overwhelm in here. My immune system is getting taxed by probably all the debris that's in the lymphatic system, right? So there are things that can be done to clear the lymphatic system, help the immune system function better. But we're not taught that. This is ancient medicine. It's not modern medicine. Modern medicine is quick. Okay, we did the ultrasound. You got a stone. You got this. Let's go. Let's get you on the operating table. Take this thing out. Take that. And it's frightening because, like you said earlier, there's this fear trance that happens because we're bombarded by. Well, I'm going to say this first and foremost. First of all, the cancer fear for the past 50 years is fear on top of fear on top of fear on top of fear on top of fear. Cancer, 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 right? Where people have lived with cancer for long periods of time without being afraid that their body's going to shut down and break and goodbye to your body. there's even, oh my gosh, years ago, there was a story, a great story I read in the New York Times about this Greek guy. He was in his 60s and he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And the doctor said, listen, you got like 6 months to live. We can do this thing. It doesn't even make sense to give you
Did he
chemotherapy.
have a crystal ball? I mean, even if like doctors, if they say those things, fire them right away, because that's
Yes.
what he's saying. I can't handle you. So you come to me and you only have 6 months. Go somewhere else.
Yep. So what this guy did was he said, okay, well, if I only have 6 months to live, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do the radiation, the chemotherapy, all that stuff. He goes, I'm just going to go home to Greece. I'm going to go home to Greece and I'm going to be with my family and I'll die with my family. So he goes home to Greece. And he starts working in his garden, right? This is what he does now for a living, right? He's no longer doing his work, construction, whatever it was. He goes and he's working in the garden and he's hanging out with his family, and 6 months pass, he's still alive. 2 months pass, he's still alive. The guy is 102 years old. And I read this story, I want to say in the early 2000s. He's still alive.
Wow.
He was 60 when they diagnosed him. I just saw on what is it, that show that was on Netflix, the Secrets of the Blue Zones.
Yes, yes, yes.
He was actually one of the people that they interviewed. He was the Greek guy that was 102 years old.
Yes.
Same guy. He's still alive. I
Oh
can't
my
believe
gosh. Yes.
Right? So he was like, okay, I'm just going to go live my life. So our thoughts are so powerful. And if we are driven in fear of cancer and fear of the disease and fear of COVID and fear of everything that's coming to kill us, then what happens to the immune system? Tanks.
Yeah.
Right? So, I think, like you said, how do we intuitively know? Our body will talk to us, and not everything is going to kill us. There are some things that are going to kill us. That's a truth. We're not in the body forever, but not everything is going to kill us. But we've been taught that everything is an emergency. Everything is coming to get you. The viruses, the bacteria, everything's coming to get you.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible way to exist if you're in chronic fear. I think that it ruins our experience here on the planet. If you wake up and you're in fear, and you read the news and you're in fear, and you open up the newspaper, or you get on the feeds and you're in fear, and you walk down the street and you're in fear, how is that a way to live?
Yeah. No, it is no way to live, Andrea.
No.
As a matter of fact, that's how they want you to exist, not
That's
live.
right.
They just want you to exist in fear. That way your ego is starting to protect you. And I'm not talking about self-esteem. I'm talking about the ego, and how the ego is sent to us to protect us when we're children, but then it holds us bound. It holds us captive, because fear is the choice. And so if we're, and I want to add to what you said about, listen to your body. But here's the thing. We also have to do the research. We need to, and like I say, don't believe anything I say. Just be curious about what we're saying here, and do your own research, so that you're not repeating what I'm saying. And that's what's happening today. Many people repeat what they hear without any research whatsoever. And their only defense, the only way to counteract your creativity or informed choice or whatever it is to get angry with you and bully you, call you, cancel you, call you names, whatever it is. That's how, because they don't have anything to back it up. They'll say, well, that my opinions don't matter, but that's their opinion too. And if I do my research, I can say why I believe this way. And, and you will hear it. And so what happens is, when we hear something like Dr. Seyfried said, which is that, you don't need toxic chemicals to reverse cancer, that gives you more cancer.
That's
so
correct.
When you hear something like that from someone who's lost someone very dearly, because we're losing, this is murder. We're losing so many loved ones to the treatment, not to the symptom.
Yeah.
Cancer is a symptom that there's an out of balance situation. And how do we put it back in balance? So what happens is, when you hear somebody say that, You get angry at the wrong person instead of getting angry at the institutions that are withholding this information. And not even one has done metabolic therapies. And there's testing and there's trials from all over the world, but it's not the same because it's not, you don't have to give them a pill. So, with that, you would think they would just jump at it, figure out how to make money from it, but we get angry at the wrong, we get angry at the message and no, the messenger and the messenger, the message and the messenger. And the reality is we need to redirect our anger and say, wait a minute, you knew about this and you didn't bring this to the surface? And I told Dr. Seyfried, I said to him, well, it took 20 years for doctors to embrace washing hands from patient to patient. It took them 20 years. And the man who brought it up to everybody was ridiculed.
Oh.
So it's what happens. And so we need to be brave and be bold and be informed. So let's talk about, and okay, but so you believe, and what I'm hearing you say is that if like if I didn't know any better, I would have had my gallbladder out.
Yeah.
But because I knew and I had some information after the last 12 years, I better know something. I knew that I could try something different first before trying the removal of something that I cannot get back.
That's right.
So what is where is a good source of a place where you research? Because like I said at the beginning, you can hear someone very credible say that fat and low carbs, good quality fat, low carbs, great protein, that's great. And then you hear someone say, no, low fat, no animal products, no, and then where do we come to that? Where do we come to where do you go to for your research?
Okay, so that's a great question that you bring up. So I always encourage my clients to try everything. Try everything in your physical body, right? Because this is your experimentation. This is your laboratory. So for me personally, my initial step into this world was through TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, right? So medicine that was like thousands of years old, right? Not like modern medicine, which is like 300 years old. It's like a baby in a carriage being pushed down the stairs. Right? That's modern medicine. But it's
that's
like
a great depiction. That's a great depiction. So thank you for that.
Right? That's what the modern medicine is. And they'll kill you. They don't even care. But because they've been programmed by a specific way of doing things. So that's what they know. So the ancient medicine is also a form of programming, but I personally believe that programming comes from a higher source. Like they looked at the human body and they looked at the earth that the human body was on, and there are all of these passageways, energy passageways in the body, the meridian systems. Like if you look at an acupuncture chart, you see all of those lines and dots all over the body, right? Those are meridian passageways or energy passageways in the body, because we're energy beings while we're here, and we're on an energy planet. And so that to me made perfect sense, that you get your energy body in alignment with the energy earth that you're living on, getting also source energy from the universe, right? Because we're connected to everything. So the ancient way of looking at the body was a much bigger, broader view, where the modern way of looking at the body is gallbladder's out of balance, take it out. Thyroid's out of balance, take goodbye to that thyroid. But they would look at, the ancient people would look at the whole picture. How is this human being in relation to its environment? How is it in relation to the universe? How is it in the big scope of things? Is this human being out of alignment, out of balance? Oh, let's say the person's eating grapes all day long, right? Just grapes, right? And they ask, maybe that's not balanced, So like, I also believe that as the seasons change, because we're living on this earth, we have to change with the seasons in order to be in balance. Like, and I love to give the analogy of where you live on the earth is telling you what you should eat, right? Mostly. So the Inuits in Alaska, seal fat, right? Blubber, whale blubber,
I
little
don't think there
tiny.
are any vegans in Alaska. I
No, and
mean,
if there are, then
I
they're freezing,
yes,
right? And
frozen
then you go,
food.
yes, frozen food, literally. And then you go down to Costa Rica, right? Lots of coconuts, bananas, mangoes, fruits, fish, like they're a totally different diet. But if you take the person from Costa Rica and you plop them up in Alaska or in Greenland and you continue to feed them coconuts and bananas, it's not going to work in that environment.
Mm.
They're going to need something more hearty, more warming, more protein, more fat, to make the physical body work within that environment. So I think that we have been disconnected, not only from ourselves, but from the
Yes.
planet that we're living on.
Yes.
And we're here. We were put here on the planet, just like every other creature was here on the planet. All the other creatures know exactly what to eat. Right? The giraffe isn't wondering, what am I supposed to eat? Right? It's eating the things that are in its environment that it is physically designed to eat. Right? The lion isn't saying, I'm not going to have the gazelle. I'm not. I'm going to go for the plantains. Right?
Yeah.
So we're the only creature that is literally disconnected. And I think that's been intentional. I think we're disconnected from the planet that we're living on more and more and more. They say, oh, go for the, support the environment. We're not even connected to the environment. Like, I can't even believe how far removed most people are from the environment. Like, to the point where, and I know I'm digressing, going off on a tangent here,
Okay.
but they're like, oh, the climate is changing, right? The climate is changing, and we have to cloud seed. We have to put this stuff into the clouds to deflect the sun because the climate is changing. And I think to myself, these people are so far removed from the planet that they're living on, because every single thing on the planet requires sunshine, every single thing. And we're cloud seeding and putting aluminum particles and all the medical particles into the clouds to deflect the sunlight. We're committing our own demise, as well as every other thing on the planet. So it's things like that. I think they're living in ego. I can change the planet. No, be one with the planet.
Yeah.
Right? Stop polluting the planet, first of all,
Yeah.
right? Stop doing that stuff. And then start to get to know the planet on a deeper level. And I think that part of that, I'm not saying take a geology class. It's a lot easier than that. It's just literally getting to know your environment, where you currently are in the world. Where are your feet? Where are your feet? Take a look around. What's growing in that area? What's available? I'm all for eating local, eating seasonal as much as possible, at least 90% of the time, because that's going to help your internal environment become in harmony with the external environment and create more balance.
I like that. I like that. With frozen foods, however, now we can eat whatever we want, and it's organic. And so sometimes I eat broccoli almost every day, not every day,
Wow.
but I eat broccoli because I buy it frozen. I also have a plant in my garden, and my pseudo garden, because I live on the 5th floor. I live on the top floor, and so my garden is growing, but I just have tiny little spaces in my balcony. But if I were to rely on my own food, I would starve. Maybe I
Yeah.
can just eat the leaves. I don't know, but it's thriving. It really is thriving, but it's not the season yet for it. But what I need to do, and what I'm thinking as I'm hearing you, is to reach out to the local farmers.
Yes.
But because we've been told that we need to eat organic, many farmers cannot get certified because it would shut them down. And so how do we find out from our farmers if they're using organic seed, if they're using organic soil, or if they're using what they're using, so that we can at least feel confident that we're not just getting commercial.
Yeah. So what you can do is ask them.
But
Right.
will they be
So,
honest, Andrea? Let's be honest. Will they be honest?
well, we don't know
Give me
if they'll
some
be honest.
GMO. She's
You know,
gone. Bring the
hopefully,
GMO out.
hopefully they'll have integrity, right? You know, like I know that a lot of the small farmers aren't allowed to use the organic label because it costs like $25,000 or something like that to
Yeah.
get certified.
Mhm.
So they could be growing things naturally and without pesticides, but they're not allowed to say that they're organic.
Correct.
So I would say, like, go to something like localharvest.org and put in your zip code, and that will show you the local farmers in your area, and have a conversation with them, you know, like human to human. And sometimes the farmers will say, I'll only spray if there's an infestation that is unmanageable, you know, maybe once a season or something like that, which is actually not terrible. You know, I'm not afraid of, for me personally, in my physical body, I'm not afraid of a little bit of contaminant. I'm afraid of my food being bombarded with contaminants every single day, and that's part of the protocol to grow
Yeah,
it.
our
Right?
bodies will, because you treat your body with love, so
Yeah,
your body will respond. So that if it has a little bit of if you have a little bit of an indiscretion, in the sense that it's not what you want to eat or what you intentional originally intended, then your body will say, okay, well, you've got 90% all good. This
that's
10%,
right.
our body can garble it up and spit it
That's
out.
right.
Right.
Not
Okay.
only that, but you know, in ancient China, the emperors were fed a little tiny bit of poison in their meal. Do you know why?
So that they would develop resistance.
Yes. So that when they finally did get poisoned, because they were getting poisoned all the time, right? I think I'd want to poison a couple of heads of state right now, but not really. They're probably going to shut
She's
this
just
thing down.
joking. She's
I'm
just
just
joking.
joking,
Yes.
AI.
Yes.
Just joking. But it was so that when they finally did get poisoned, they could survive that, right?
Wow.
They weren't in such a pristine, clean environment that it couldn't handle one little tiny piece of poison. And if you look around at our world that we've created, unfortunately, we're surrounded by poison all the time.
Yeah.
I live in New York City. This is just dirt everywhere that you can imagine, and stuff I don't even know what's down in the subways, but we have to be able to be strong in our environment wherever we are, strong and healthy and vibrant and vital without fear.
Yes. And Andrea, on top of that, I really do believe I've gone to this place and I've said this to Robert. I think he's my sounding board, and I'm like, does it sound crazy? And he is so in alignment with what I'm saying, that he'll listen to it and he'll say, that sounds, like, okay, well, that sounds okay. But here's where I'm leading. And when you talk about the Eskimo in Alaska, and you're talking about the person in Costa Rica or Florida or Michigan, or or when we're looking at, and by the way, every single one of these people will be prescribed the same medication,
That's
regardless
correct.
of wherever they live. But what I believe is that our thoughts are so powerful.
Yes.
And the belief that you have that your body can, if there's a little bit of toxicity in your body, it can handle it. I believe that too.
Yeah.
And, people that say, oh, you have to eat a certain way. But there are people from all over backgrounds that they're eating a different way, but they're still healthy. They're
Yeah.
still doing okay. They're still thriving. So this is what I said, with the exception of someone who eats the standard American diet, exception of someone that is eating processed foods all the time. Whatever you believe is good for you will be good for you,
That's
because
right.
you believe it. And that's how powerful our thoughts are, that we can think it and it is breathed into existence. Just like a doctor could say, you have 6 months to live and you will die within 6
Right.
months, because you're honoring that contract of oh, the white coat is really smart, and they're smarter than me, so therefore, and we've taken away that connection. There's so many layers to the connection of the God of our universe, that creator that created us. Again, somebody might call it different. I call it God and Jesus, but we all have that higher power.
Yeah.
And there are so many different layers of distractions, like you talked about, that shield of the, I mean, I live in Florida and I'm seeing all those rockets bringing up something
Oh,
into the atmosphere. I have no idea what that is. When 12 years ago, 14 years ago, I'd go, ooh, ah, and now
oh
I
my
go,
gosh.
oh,
Oh no.
whoa. And listen, I'm all for progress. I am for progress, but I believe that what we believe
Mm,
will manifest. So if you believe you're eating junk and you're
mm,
not eating junk and you're eating good food, it's going to be junk because your thoughts are toxic. And so that toxicity is also very important. And so
yes.
I'm going to take a little break to talk about, talking about toxic thoughts. I
Mm,
want to direct all of you to whenyouneedafriend.com. And when you go there, please subscribe to the website, because and I had this conversation with Andrea. I want all of you who are listening, please go to the website,
yeah.
because if someday you wake up and I'm not on Facebook or I'm not on YouTube and I'm not on anything, you'll know where, you'll be the first one to know what's going on, because I will send all of you in my website an email letting you guys know what is going on now. So make sure that you subscribe. Don't just listen to free programming and don't commit. So commit to it by saying, I want to be a part of this. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com. And while you're there, you're going to see this pop up. And on November 3rd and 4th in Cape Canaveral, Florida, where I live, you are going to be able to attend the Emotion Code Body Code with Dr. Bradley Nelson. He will be live with us, and we will be with like-minded people learning
Mm,
how to release trapped emotions, whether it's your emotion or an ancestor's emotion, clear it out so that future generations don't have to deal with that particular emotion. There's a lot more that you learn. So we're going to learn about the body code and emotion code. That's November 3rd and 4th. Tickets, the VIP is completely sold out, but we have regular admission tickets, which the only thing is different is that you'll sit further back in the class, and it's not very big. It's not a very big room. So no matter where you're at, you'll have a good seat. And the fact that you're there with everybody that's like-minded, and we're excited about taking our life back. Another way that you can do this is that you can like and follow me on all social media. You can go to my sponsors page, support my sponsors the way they're supporting the classroom. Go to my
mm,
Shop Now bag. I have affiliate, some of our affiliate and some of them are not. These are Lilly approved products that that you can count on as well. Some will help the classroom, others don't, but I want you to know what I love, from makeup all the way to, makeup that is synthetic free, that is chemical free, and responsibly sourced, because you can't make minerals organic. So responsibly sourced, anyway, all the way to pain-free management of free pain management, free of any kind of drugs. And
mm.
so with that in mind, go check it out. It's my little Shop Now bag. And we also have some workshops that you can look at. And last but not least, you can become an enrolled student in the classroom. Help with what's going on in the world with censorship. It's becoming more expensive to do this, and you could have the free programming. So help us out, whether you want to tithe, some people want to take that tithing and split it. Please consider whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month or a one-time donation. Whatever you can afford will help us continue the sharing this free information so that you can be informed, so that you can make the best choice for you. And so whatever it is, whether it's your time, your talent, your treasure, I need for you to also remember that sharing this video will help. Tell me what you think about what we're talking about. Do you agree with Andrea? Do you agree with me or disagree? Share in the comment section, because here's the thing that I just learned, that when you share and you engage and you do emojis and you do all that, the algorithms cannot touch me. cannot touch this program. So I need all of you to make comments, do whatever you can to help the class grow. Today we have Andrea Beaman. She could have been anywhere else, but she chose to be here today. You can go to andreabeaman.com so that you can learn more about how informed choice and what informed choice is all about. Andrea Beaman, are you creating anything new? What's going on in your neck of the woods, in your website that people can go and find out? Are you doing any events?
Oh, I'm doing events all the time, but I want to piggyback on something that you said, about censorship. So as we're moving forward and they're getting more and more tight with what you're allowed to say on the web, it's important that they go to your website, Lillian, and it's important that they subscribe, because come May 2024, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the world where we're not allowed to say anything that goes against what the World Health Organization says, right? It's going to be against the law, right? Where it's now just censored, it's going to be against the law. So people, if they want to hear what you have to say, they're going to have to be with you directly, because you won't be able to say it on Facebook. You won't be able to say it on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or any of the places, or most of the places. So for me, that looks like I created my AndreaBeaman.com health community, and it's a private membership. It's literally behind a paywall so that anybody in that membership can say whatever they want.
We have one. We have that.
If they don't want to take a vaccine, we have other things that they can do. If they don't want to have a cancer, radiation, and chemotherapy, there are other things that we can talk about, right? That we're allowed to talk about. Where if you look now on the Google medical misinformation guidelines, you're not allowed to say specific things about cancer. It's all getting shadow banned and censored and all that stuff. And there's no surprise about that, because cancer rates are surging right now. And I don't want to put any blame on anything, but I have my suspicions about why they're surging.
Yes.
And that's going to be censored as well. You can't give your suspicions.
You can't even say it. Don't say it. Don't say it, because then it's going to go straight to YouTube. To BitChute. And so that's the thing. And I'm not afraid of it. And I was sharing with Andrea before we came on the air, because we are very, very similar in the way we think. And we didn't know each other a while ago. I mean, and I will tell you, Andrea, the woman I am today, or the woman I used to be 14 years ago, to the woman I am today, the woman I was 14 years ago made fun of the woman I am today. So when people make fun of me or whatever, I go, fine. I was ignorant too. I forgive them, because, that you do the best you can with what you have. The moment somebody shifts that mentality from critical to curious, it's amazing how the world opens up. Or it's true. Or shuts down, depending on what it is that's happening in the world. But I have been so inspired by John the Baptist. I've been really inspired. I've gone back to Bible study. I graduated many years ago. It was a 7-year program. Now it's an 8 or so year program, and I'm so excited. So I believe that when you read the Bible, you kind of live. I live the stories of the Bible. And John the Baptist, what I love about him is that he never said he was the truth. He always said, someday the truth will come. And he had lots of followers. And when Jesus came, he said, that's the one. And all his followers left him to follow Jesus. And he was okay. And he was okay. And whenever I get another video removed, whenever somebody says something, or, all these, I know what I'm being called to do. I know that. So he's been my hero. He's been my superhero these last, because I'm studying the book of John. But, he could have said, oh my God, I lost my followers. No. And that's why we're trying to merge everybody that is listening today. Anyone who's listening in the future, please stop. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com and sign in. you'll get a 90-day challenge to self-love ebook, and you will be a part of our community. And that's what we're doing. As a matter of fact, Andrea, when I received your notification, I forwarded it to Robert and I said, hun, look at what Andrea's doing. I think
Ah,
that's wonderful. That is wonderful. And so, and here you are today. This was, that you had already been booked for months and months and months before I saw that email. And that's exactly what we've been talking about. And here you are. You're my teacher. Thank you, Andrea.
ah.
Yeah, that's the way
Oh,
to do it.
we're all teaching each other,
Yes.
we're all teaching each other. And I think community is a really big, important part of moving forward in
Yes.
this really tragic and tumultuous time in human history. I think we need to be able to, just like I said before, call up your farmer and talk to him, have a conversation, build a community, community of friends, community of loved ones, people that you can rely on and trust and open your heart to and have conversations with, where you are not called a tinfoil hat wearing, right? But they accept you as you are, whether you have the tinfoil hat on or you're eating carrots out of your ears, it doesn't matter, right? But they accept you and they love you, and your thoughts and your truth has validity,
Mhm.
right? And it's not just, oh, cancel, goodbye. Oh, censor, goodbye.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a big fan of building a community that is healthy and happy,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there are
And
so many communities that are not.
yes. And everybody has to, any community that I have, people have to be courteous to one another. You may not agree with what somebody says, but that's the beauty of
Mm.
conversation. I
Yeah.
don't have to change your thoughts. I don't have to change your mind. You don't have to change my thoughts, but I can be curious about why you believe what you believe without it affecting what I believe,
Yep.
because I know what I believe because I've researched it. And you know what? And this is so beautiful. Just recently, I had a vegan come on my show, and he's been on my show many, many times. And he's a beautiful soul.
Mm.
And he admitted live that he's been having some DHA,
Mm.
EPA, like really low to the point where he had to resort to, an animal
Mm.
source for the omega-3s.
Mm.
And I stopped right there because sometimes we want to be right about the brand and not necessarily be seeking truth.
Mm. Yeah.
And I was so impressed that he was seeking truth and he was sincere about, what he was trying to do, what he was trying to, anything that he was trying to do. He was just, it was about, I really just want to focus on health.
Oh, it's good.
So I
That's
applaud
good.
him. And I don't want to mention his name because that was like something that happened that one time. So if anybody wants to start looking, who is Lillian talking about? Go check it out. Go watch every single show I've ever done. And before you do that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Okay, so Andrea, I know that you wanted to talk about today about the truth about health. Is there
Mm.
something that you would like to say that maybe we haven't, because we were like going all over
All
the
over the
place?
place.
Is there anything that, like that you would like to add to what we've been talking about?
Yeah, I just like to say that, just like the vegan that came on and said he's now incorporating DHA from animal products, right? So everyone's truth is going to be different at different times in their life. I remember when I was in my early 30s, I was vegan for 3 years or 4 years or something like that, until I started to feel my body breaking down. And
I was vegan, raw vegan for 3 years. So that's another thing we have
wow,
in common. Yes, 3 years raw
yeah.
vegan. Mhm.
And, I had to honor my system, regardless of what I read in, John Robbins' diet. Well, I think it was Diet for a New America or something like that. The one that really turns everybody vegan. I forgot the name of it. But
You mean
you read
world
it.
peace? Is it world peace?
No, I think it was Diet for a New America.
Okay, okay,
It's like the vegan Bible, read
okay,
this and you become vegan.
okay.
But for me, and it worked great in the beginning. And
Mhm,
then I had to honor a deeper truth.
mhm.
And my deeper truth was that after 3 years, my body started breaking down and I can feel it. Right. I could feel it. My knees were hurting. My immune system kept crashing over and over and over and over again. And I was like, something's wrong. I'm eating the best, in quotes, diet in the world, according to what I read, but something's wrong. And I sat in meditation, right? For some people, it's prayer. For me, it was meditation. And the thought just kept coming, or the guidance kept coming, eat meat. And I had to honor that. And it was hard. It was a struggle. It was a struggle because everything that I had read and everything that I had programmed myself,
Again,
right?
the belief,
The belief.
Yeah.
So my truth changed. My truth initially was don't eat anything without a face. And then it was use the energy of the animal to support your body while you're here on the planet in a human body that needs more than what you're giving it. Right? And always honor the animal and honor the fruits, honor the vegetables, and honor everything that comes into the temple. Right? This is the temple, and I'm going to honor everything because it's building my body and building my experience here on the planet. So when it comes to truth, always be flexible about, like there's a hard line. I only believe this. I only believe that, right? Be open, be receptive to opening the heart, hearing what the mind has to say, and see if these two connect. Right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes there'll be a disconnect between heart and mind.
Yeah.
Right? So heart says, don't kill the animal. And mind says, well, body needs this food. Right? So these two have to come in harmony and find a balance, so to speak, in order to give us balance. That's my personal belief system, that we have to listen deeper, right? More deeply connect. That's my truth. We have to more deeply connect to the vessel that we're living in and hear it and honor it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with you. I have experienced that myself. Like I said, when I first started, at 21, I found out that I could not process pork or beef. My body doesn't have that much acid. They gave me so many acid blockers, asthma medication, all those things. And right now I take vitamin C for asthma, and sometimes I take Lobelia. It's a little tincture.
I love Lobelia.
Yeah, I take Lobelia. I don't get paid or anything like that, but I just love it. I just put it in my water at higher stress levels in my life where I'm, like I told you, recording 6 shows in 2 days, and plus be in an interview, plus do a conference, plus happy birthday to my husband, all these wonderful things. And I need to really, and this has been calling me, the meditation and, breathing and breath. Yesterday when I was recording, I had to remind myself, breathe, and I would hold my breath, breathe, hold my breath, breathe. I had to remind myself to breathe because there was just so many deadlines, so many things. What is your advice for someone who would like to start a self-love routine?
Oh gosh. I mean, we only have a few minutes left. That's an entire episode, an entire episode. But
okay, you can come back.
We'll come back. We'll come back to the classroom.
But you got about 3 minutes. You got about 3 minutes.
Well, to start a self-love routine, first thing you have to do is love yourself, right? I know it sounds, hokey fanoky, or what do you mean love yourself? It's not like narcissistic.
Yeah.
It's like really honoring your experience here in a human body and loving the body that you're in. Like people will say, oh, I don't like my hair. I don't like my teeth. I don't like this. I don't like that. But how about just start to love yourself exactly as you are, no matter what's going on. You have cancer, you have this disease, you have that disease, you're not feeling well. Just love yourself right now and move forward from there, right? Get into that space of, I totally love Lillian, or I love Andrea, and I'm going to take care of her first and foremost today. First thing in the morning, this is the first person I'm taking care of.
First fruits. Yeah.
Yes, totally. Like when you're in the airplane and they used to have the things that came down, they'd say, you have to put your own mask on first. So that's part of your self-care, because you can't put the mask on somebody else, right? If you're dying for oxygen, right? It doesn't work that way. So you have to get into that space of loving me first. And once I am fully nourished and loved, I can put so much love out into the world, right? You become like a vibration, a love vibration, just emanating out into the world. And I think that that's a good place to start, where you look in your mirror. And I know Louise Hay, but her first book, You Can Heal Your Life, when she had people do the mirror exercise, go stand in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself.
Love you.
Yes.
I
Yes,
love
when
you.
I first read that, I was like, "I'm not doing that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." And then I was like, when I started to do it, I would laugh, and then I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I really do need to love this person. I
Yeah.
need to love who's looking back at me.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'll never take care of her. I'll put her last, right? She won't matter because we take care of the things that we love, right? So
Well,
love yourself first
yes.
and foremost in order to step into self-care.
Absolutely. You know what? I'll let that be the last word because we need to have a class on self-love and
Mm,
like a routine that we can do, like
yeah.
meditation or, just resting and some of the things that we can do to really love ourselves. Andrea, I really love you.
I
And
love you too.
thank you. And I'm so glad that you were able to come into the classroom as quickly as you were, because I think it was before that, it was like years. And so I'm glad that you're back and that you are really true to who you say you are. So I'm grateful for you. And so all of you, once again, AndreaBeaman.com, you'll check her out as well. Like and follow her too, as well as register for our website so that you know what's happening, because you will need this information when you're told you cannot have this information. And so please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Andrea Beaman wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. I love your evers.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps